We're live.
Hello.
Hello, everyone.
Hi, Facebook world.
We are back today, and we are talking about how to use books to support speech and language development. We're going to talk about why it's important to read with your children and how to do it, and we're going to give you some resources that you can use to jumpstart your shared book reading with your children.
So I'm Kara. I wasn't here last week, but Ellie was, and our other friend Allie is usually filling in with us. But our turn today, as she said, is talking about book reading. So you may be wondering, why is book reading important? So obviously, children are going to incorporate books for a long time throughout their lives in education and just in life in general. So we know that children who see their parents regularly reading books and have books routinely available to them around the home, they're going to begin to, understand what books are all about as babies and just start to play with them and love them. The other thing that's great about books is that it really expands a child's horizons. So they might learn new vocabulary from a book. They might learn a new idea about how to think, how to behave, how to play. And they might even learn how to just walk in the shoes of others and see what others do and learn something from another point of view. And they really develop a lot of curiosity with books. There's going to be a link in the comments to a TEDx video, and this TEDx video is really, really great. Just talks a lot about just other reasons of why it's important to read to your children. So if you get a chance to watch that, you should watch it. We'll put that link in the comments.
So one of the questions we get most frequently is, how do I help my child attend to books? We try reading books, they don't like it, they walk away, they roll away, they don't want to read books. So what we're going to talk about a little bit is how to help your child attend to the books that you're reading with them. I first want to recommend thinking about where you're reading books with your child and at what time you're reading books with your child. Are they distracted? Are they tired? Are they hungry? Do they need to have their basic needs met first before you introduce this book that you want to read? Think about that first, and then I want you to think about what books you're choosing to read with your child. Are you reading chapter books? Are you reading child-appropriate books with your child? If you have a child under the age of 3, maybe under the age of 2, I would recommend books that are board books, kind of like this, that have things that your child can touch and explore so that they become acquainted with, let me get the glare out of there, they can become acquainted with what a book looks like, how to hold a book, how to turn the page. Sometimes for a child, turning the page is the most exciting part, and that's okay at the beginning. We also have books, I would recommend books that are engaging, that have flaps. So spot books are the best. They're not really the best, but I recommend spot books because they're engaging. Kara, can you find a flap? So incredible. I would also recommend books that have repetition, sing-song, words that kids can learn. Repetition is awesome with books like this because they begin to develop confidence, and then they can start reading the book to you, which kids love to do. So Brown Bear, this is a classic. Every page pretty much has the same, but with some different animals. There's also Panda Bear, Polar Bear. I think there's maybe another one. But those are my recommendations for trying to help children attend to books.
Yeah, so like Ellie said, young children a lot of parents we've heard say for the young child cannot focus, cannot attend on a book. So all of those suggestions are just perfect for that child that is kind of struggling. So you want to kind of get them used to books and let them play around with it a little bit. Another suggestion that we've told families before is to make your own book. So you can make something that is applicable or interesting to your child. So this one is just an example of this child's favorite foods. So in this case, the family just took pictures of the actual items. They wrote the word in with them, and that way the child can use this maybe at lunchtime. Maybe the child was having a hard time just telling the family what she wanted to eat at lunch. So she could talk about her favorite foods, gives you the opportunity for them to point to the picture, and just really become more familiar with these things, or just be able to express herself even more. And you can do this with so many different things. You could take pictures of a child doing different actions. Taking pictures of them, too, is really exciting because we all know that kids are kind of selfish a little bit. They love themselves. They learn about themselves doing things, and then they can apply it to other people. But if you take pictures of them doing different things, or maybe on a trip that you went on, anything like that, it can be really interesting to them and help them keep their attention and just start learning more about books. The other question that I've been asked a lot is it okay that my child wants to read the same book over and over and over again? And the answer I always give is yes, that's okay, because when we're talking about their language development, they need to be exposed to these new vocabulary words and just new ideas and concepts over and over and over again, and that's really going to solidify their language learning. So yes, it might be exhausting as a parent, but it is so helpful for them. And then the kids can take ownership of it too, and like the example that Ellie said with Brown Bear, then they start to get into that sing-songy rhythm, and they start to participate in it, and they feel like they're reading, and they might not be, but that's so exciting for them, and that's going to really set a good standard for them when they get a little bit older. So Ellie mentioned some younger kiddos. If your child is a little bit older, or they are kind of past that stage where they need the sing-songy, if they're 3 or older, sometimes you can give them more of a story. So this is an example. If you give them a mouse a cookie, there's a couple others like it if you give a moose a muffin, and there's much more to this story. There's a lot more actions that are taking place, and there's much more just to really like learn about as you turn the pages. When you give him the milk, he's going to ask for a straw, and this book keeps going and going and going. It's really fun for young children just to get involved in it and talk about it and see what's going to happen next a little bit too, develop some of that anticipation. Another really good one for slightly older kiddos, still within the preschool kindergarten age range, would be Are You My Mother? Dr. Seuss has a lot of great rhyming books too, but there's just more to this story. There's more words on the page. And obviously, as they get older and older, they're really going to become more interested in the story itself. They might really be able to talk about how the characters in the story solve the problems and what happened next. They will probably want to, retell the story and tell it back to you after they've read it many times. Children who are 3 or 4 or 5, they really, when you see that they start to love and learn more from books, then that's just another excuse for you to keep reading and keep talking about all of these skills in books with them. So, and sometimes too, like when we touched on early on, the other important thing about reading books is just like print understanding and awareness. And these children who get a little bit older, as they're 3 or 4 or 5, they're going to understand more about that. Like, oh, this word that starts with the letter H. That's in my name, or something like that. So they're going to then learn how to apply that to more applicable things that then they can add on that knowledge or expand on that knowledge. So.
Hi, I see one of my families has joined in. Good to see you.
Hello.
Sorry, I want to jump in after Kara and talk a little bit about a resource. If you were ready to jump in with kind of amping up your book reading with your child, a great resource is if you go to the Hanen website. I believe it's www.hanen.org. We're gonna post the link below, so you'll see it in a second here. The Hanen program has a specific website called the Book Nook that every month they talk about, in particular, a very specific book and how you can use that book to work on specific language goals, be it print knowledge, letter sound awareness, story comprehension, story retell, vocabulary, and how to create conversations based on the book. You can go to that website and sign up for email notifications every time they have new information populate. And it's a great way if you're looking for very specific step-by-step suggestions regarding a particular book. It's a great way to kind of get familiar with using these skills so it becomes a little bit more organic for you with your child.
So I think that's everything we have today about books. But if you get a chance, next week we're going to go live again right around 12:30, and we are Allie and I are going to talk about how to incorporate beginning sign language for delayed talkers. So if you have any questions, please put them right in the comments. We'll do our best to answer you. Or if there's any other topics that you guys really want to hear more about, absolutely just put them right in there, and then we'll put our links down there for you as well. So thank you so much for tuning in.
I forgot to say,
Uh-oh.
if you want notifications for when
yes.
we're going to be live, I was supposed to say this at the beginning. There's a button down at the bottom that says Get Notifications, and you can click that, and you'll be notified when we go live next week. So, yeah.
All right.
that's
Thank
it.
you guys.
Thank you guys.
We'll see you next
Bye.
week. Bye.